Okay, here is another technique that we're going to use for putting our concealer under our eye and not having to use powder. Because as we know, as we age, this is where we get fine lines and wrinkles. Even young people, unfortunately, you have fine lines and wrinkles because you smile, and when you smile, it crinkles up. So even young people, you can look at children, they have them. Some of us have them worse than others. But as we age and our skin gets a little drier, or for whatever reason, even if your skin's oily and you don't like to powder under your eyes because it just aggravates you, or you don't know how to do it correctly, or any number of things, okay? Here's another tip and trick so we don't have to powder underneath our eyes, okay? So what we're going to do is our eye primer. Now, this is what I would suggest first, okay? I know we do our eyes first, then we usually do our face, but what I'm going to suggest first is take a little bit of your Touch Glorious primer, and I'm talking a teeny bit, like just a pen size, a little bit, because we're just putting it under our eyes, okay? You're just going to put it under your eyes like this. Okay. Right after we finish our eyes, we usually put it, we also put it all over our face, but we're just going to concentrate just an extra amount under our eyes, okay? And we're going to give that a couple of seconds to settle into our skin. If you want to fan it a little bit, you can. Then we're going to take our eye primer, okay? Now, I also use... Let me see if I can find it real quick. I should have had it out. Victorious a lot instead of the Splurge Matte Cream Shadow Victorious. I use it a lot instead of our eye primer. I'm going to do it on each eye with both products, okay? And just kind of show you what happens. So now that the Glorious Touch Face Primer has settled in, we're going to take eye primer, which is what we had put on our eyelid, okay? You're just going to take a little bit. I mean, not very much, okay? And we're just going to put this right under our eyes, okay? And you're going to do it, you can do it with a brush if you want to, but I like doing it with my finger. You just press it in, okay? I'm just pressing it in the triangle shape because that's where, you know, we want it. Now, with our Splurge Cream Shadow Victorious, I actually am going to use the brush, okay? And I'm just going to pick it up lightly, okay, real lightly. And again, we'll do the triangle, okay? So I use the brush for the Victorious. You don't have to. You can put your finger in it and do it too. I was just showing you two different ways. And then I would just take my finger, probably your ring finger because it's got a lighter pressure, and just work that in, okay? Then what we're going to do is we're going to take our Mineral Touch Skin Perfecting Concealer. Now, this is a cream concealer, okay? This is what you need for this to work, okay? If you have a liquid concealer or a powder concealer, it's not going to work like this. It has to be a cream, okay? And ours is perfect because it's heavy enough that it's going to stay all day, okay? So you just squeeze out a little bit. Mine is getting empty and I squeezed out too much last time, so I'll just pick it up off the side of my tube, and then we're going to put it on, and we're going to do our triangle shape because we want our eyes lifted, okay? Come up under your lash line. You want your eyes lifted. You want them to be, you want this whole area right here highlighted. And that's what doing your concealer in this manner will do. Because people will sometimes use a lighter concealer than their foundation. And that'll give you an automatic highlight right there, which is great because it lightens up that area of the skin. It spotlights your face and makes you look younger, makes everything lifted. So I use the same color. I use Velour. The next lightest one I could use would be Scarlet, but I just choose to use Velour. It's the same color as my foundation, and that's okay too, because it's still, because you're doing a triangle effect, it's going to give you that whole lighter coverage, okay? Just tapping it in with my fingers to begin with. You can use whatever finger you like. I start off with my middle finger, and then I switch to my ring finger. Make sure we're keeping our triangle. Okay. Just like that. Now, if you wanted to, you could take your foundation brush with no foundation on it, and stipple this in. Okay. It's up to you. You can use your fingers, you can stipple it, however you want to do it. Okay. So now, you're set. You're good for the rest of the day. If by chance, if you have more mature skin and things like to settle in your lines and wrinkles and things, all you have to do is take your ring finger and pat it down. Just pat it down. But you won't have to do that very often, because we have so much for the concealer to cling on to. We smoothed out the Glorious primer, then we used our eye primer. So we have a really good base for it to hold on to. So if you need to, you can tap it out. You shouldn't have to need to tap much on this. Now, outside of our orbital bone, okay, it ends about right here. This is where our cheekbones start. You'll powder from here down if you powder your face. And you'll, of course, powder your nose, powder your forehead, all of that, okay? We just are not powdering under our eyes, okay? Because sometimes we know powder can sit in our lines, and we don't want that. So, you can see they look about the same. Ignore my dry skin that's showing up. See if I can just tap that down. You just need to know, you use a light hand with this, and just use a tiny amount of the Splurge Matte Cream Shadow if that's what you're going to use instead of the eye primer, okay? You can use either one of these and they work fabulous. Now, you could even use the Bittersweet that you use sometimes as your eye primer, okay? It will be just as fine, okay? It will set just, sorry, my eye's watering. But see, that's good. You can see, because my eyes started watering. So now, what we do is just press it in. Just like that, see? Took care of it right away. Forgive the rest of my face. I just wanted to focus on concealer under the eyes and not using powder to set it. So I hope this trick was helpful for you. Again, all it is doing is using your face primer and your eye primer together to build up it's almost, it doesn't feel sticky, but that's what it is. It's a sticky base for the concealer to hang on to. And so you don't have to powder it. You might just have to tap it out 3-4 hours into wearing it, something like that. Nothing major. So if you do this trick, let me know how it turns out. I would love to see you implement this into your makeup routine. So y'all have a good rest of the morning, evening, or night, depending on when you're watching this. And I will see y'all soon. Bye.